They wrote about how non-fans are coping now that the season's in full swing. What do you do when you haven't seen the most popular TV show or movie? Do you fake it?
You can't fake it with that show.
No,
okay, or do you opt for the smile and nod?
Smile and nod.
I do smile and nod.
Or do you admit you just have no idea what they're talking about?
Yes.
All of the above.
Yeah.
So which one? What kind of a person, if you're in the office, they're talking about some show you've never seen, or you're like, oh yeah, that was good. I like that scene a lot. Or do you?
So you can't get away with it in the news business, because then they'll just question you about, like, well, what did you think of when that happened? You know what I mean? So yeah.
What an embarrassing thing to lie about.
Right.
You know, just be like, I'm sorry, dude, I didn't see it.
Plus, Game of Thrones, I watched like the first 3 seasons. I just couldn't keep. I mean, I could keep up at the time, but I feel like I'd have to do way too much to catch up now, right?
Like, yeah. And
I just admit I haven't watched it like you. I haven't watched it since season 2.
But I wouldn't say I would not. I'm not a non-fan.
Right.
No, I just haven't watched it yet.
But not just talking about Game of Thrones, but has there ever been anything that you kind of said?
Who just saw La La Land?
I didn't just see La La Land.
I thought you said...
No. You said that, we were talking earlier, and it was like, okay, so a lot of people would fake it with La La Land, and they would say, oh yeah, the dancing was amazing.
You just saw it.
No, I said that I wouldn't fake it. I would just go see the movie so I can agree. Like, I would just go see the movie so I didn't have to lie to them. But there have been things in the past where I've said, oh yeah, that was great. And
so you could move on.
Yeah, just to get it over with.
Yeah.
Just to get it over with and move on.
I understand.
Like we should move on from this
Okay, let's go. Yeah. It's getting uncomfortable in here.
You said you just saw La La Land.
Hey, who here went to the beach this weekend? Raise your hand. Anybody?
I wish.
Beach? I worked, but yeah, you did. Yeah. So, have you noticed this phenomenon that's happening? You've probably heard of man spreading, where there were stories that we did where men.
I literally closed my legs like that.
As soon as I said it, you closed them.
Yeah.
Like on the subway, where I shouldn't just be men, where people just sort of spread out. Well, now I guess this is spread to the beaches, and they're calling it the phenomenon beach spreading, where people are literally like packing up their homes and going to the beach and setting up tents like this and umbrellas and doing multiple blankets, even though they may only be 3 people. They're setting up, 5 or 6 blankets just so that they have some space. That is beach spreading, and some towns in New Jersey are saying you need to stop.
Yeah.
You're welcome to our beaches, but
that's fine.
That's fine.
Like
I don't mind that, but it was like the camper.
So when they say no beach spreading, but they say no beach spreading, so what can you do? Are they limiting you? You must have a
towel.
A lot of people don't know.
A towel, maybe a cooler.
So it's
a towel.
A lot of people don't know.
A towel, maybe a cooler.
So it's
a towel. A lot of people don't know.
A towel, maybe a cooler.
So it's
I mean, like back in the day.
This would prohibit tents that are more than 3 feet high and 3 feet wide. Do you need something bigger than that?
If you're going to stay in your tent, why don't you just stay at home? It doesn't.
But I have an issue when you're on vacation and you're in a hotel and the pool and someone takes up all the the chairs.
Yeah.
That's the one I'm like, oh come on.
Oh wait.
Where they go
this
down
is worse.
7 and they drop 1 magazine.
Yes. And then they show up at 3 in the afternoon.
I'll be honest with you. You all know a little bit too much about that for somebody who never did. All right, Lara, that was good. Thank you guys. You guys are awesome. I love it. I love it. Who are going to be flying are going to be in the sky during the eclipse. It turns out that pilots can decide to divert or change their flight patterns so passengers can watch.
Oh, really?
Yes, you get a good pilot, he just might do that for you. And what's even better, you can watch our full coverage of the eclipse Monday, because David right here is going to anchor our live special.
You guys are sticking me out there because, the temperature drops, the animals start acting funny. You're like, you go try it.
Well, you're the first out the door.
That's right.
That's it. It is 1 p.m. Eastern on Monday right here on ABC. You got it, man.
It's an important job.
Thank you, Steve.
And you were a bus driver, right?
I was one of my first jobs. I was very young, and I know what they're talking about. It worked for me because I was in school. So I could drive in the morning, go to my classes, and then drive in the afternoon. But if you're an adult, it's a little more challenging. But it is so rewarding. The kids
smile.
When you got to school, what'd you do at the bus?
I just parked the bus at school.
I love it.
You just parked the bus at school to go to school.
Right, and then I picked them up
And then when you got home, everyone's like, Robin's home, because the bus is pulling up? Like
in the front yard. But it is so necessary. And give them a raise. I mean, these are people who are driving your precious cargo.
The bus driver used to let me open the door for the kids getting off the bus.
Always wanted to do that.
Yeah. My sister was mortified, though, in the back of the bus. She's like, Dave, would you just sit down?
Cargo.
The bus driver used to let me open the door for the kids getting off the bus.
Always wanted to do that.
Yeah. My sister was mortified, though, in the back of the bus. She's like, Dave, would you just sit down? Explains a lot, doesn't it? We have a bond. We didn't know about that.
We did.
Everybody has something about school bus. They wanted to be a part of it.
Live in Times Square, this is GMA.
I like that back shot.
Yeah. But good over here, America. There it is. They come around, David. Just hanging there long enough. And we're in paradise right here. Yeah. Purple rain is just...
Purple rain? I know. I was going to say
this is coordination at 8 minutes.
Wow, you two. Did you guys talk on the phone last night?
We did a prom picture.
We did. All right, tomorrow.
They went to prom last night. All right. Anyway, we got a GMA parenting alert now. I'm going to try this walk thing that you mastered.
Yeah, do it. Work it.
I'm going to walk over here. Good to have you with us this morning. First time with us, Dr. Edith Bracho Sanchez. And you got more on this study overnight. And it's really interesting, especially with families getting ready to take their kids back to school next coming weeks. What was most alarming to you? Because this involves children and sleep and the real dangers if they're not getting as much sleep as they need.
Absolutely. So this is a study of 4,500 children in London. What they did is they recorded how many hours of sleep they got every night. They also recorded their BMI, their body mass index levels, as well as several different blood measurements. What they found is that children who on average sleep 1 hour less per night had what we know typically to be increased levels of risk for development of type 2 diabetes.
So just 1 hour less increases the risk.
1 hour, exactly.
What's the real worry going forward, though, for kids if they don't get the sleep they need?
So we know that American children are not getting the sleep that they need. We also know from previous studies that this has been correlated with significant risks to their health, including decreased performance at school, irritability, mood and behavior issues, as well as hypertension. And now we're going to add one more to that list, David.
One more thing.
And that is type 2 diabetes.
Type 2 diabetes, really, really important because we think about it as adults, but the same sort of risk factors are there for the children too.
Absolutely.
So let's help folks at home. What do we do about it? How do you help the kids?
So what I tell my families that come to my clinic is this: sleep is just as important as physical activity and eating healthy, right? So you really have to make it a family priority. And the first thing, the place where we start, is getting electronics out of the room. We know from previous studies that electronics in the room has been linked to diminished quality of sleep at night for children.
But do you have the crew like we do to come in and take out all the electronic products? We got a whole team here. They're just going to get rid of everything.
Check this room out. So we have a laptop, we have an iPad, we have a Nintendo, and
they don't look very happy about it. The kids aren't going to be happy either.
Really, the one thing that I really want to stress, if you take nothing else away from children, the thing that you have to take away is their phone. Kids are telling me in my clinic that they're staying up late, they are texting their friends until 2 or 3 in the morning. Thank you very much for volunteering this phone. They are texting their friends until 2 or 3 in the morning. Thank you very much for volunteering this phone. This is really going to make a difference for your children.
It makes a difference because they're texting when you don't know it, obviously, into the wee hours of the morning, and it keeps them up.
Absolutely. And it's really been linked to diminished quality of sleep and all of the other health factors that we talked about.
All right, Dr. Edith Bracho Sanchez, great to have you on the program.
Thank you so much.
And important tips, especially with school. Can I have my phone back?
If I can take this away, you parents can do this.
That's right. Over to you, Michael.
Welcome back to GMA.
Welcome back to GMA, everybody. And we have a wonderful audience here this morning. And David, you got a little something for us.
Well, I got a little something because, you know, I heard about this prom last night. The prom theme went something like this. If we have it here, there was this song playing, and they captured this picture. This is Bonnie Taylor, by the way. Total Eclipse of the Heart. And look at these two. The cutest prom date ever.
We're matching, so we figured we should...
First of all, Michael's expression is every prom guy's expression. Isn't that? How many? Do we have that prom picture at home?
You know what? Every guy look like, yeah, this is mine. Don't even think about it. So anyway, your fifth expression is priceless, actually. That's going to be my new screensaver.
Game on.
Oh! Challenge it.
Tomorrow, it'll be like blue and blue.
Yeah. We're so wild.
Anyway, do you like how I got Bonnie Taylor there for you?
Yeah.
You guys do make the cutest prom couple ever.
Thank you.
I just have to say.
Until tomorrow.
We appreciate it. Bonnie Tyler. Okay, so listen, we got a couple of topics here we want to dive into, and one of them is, when you go out and you split the check with friends, you go to the...
Sure.
A lot of people try to figure it out on their phone, they do the calculating.
Yeah, totally.
But there's this news headline out saying, just beware when you split the bill, there's someone who's filed a lawsuit against Cheesecake Factory because they claim that when you get the divided bill, the tip is still based on the total amount. You know how sometimes they give you the suggestions? We do appreciate the service everywhere we go, but do you, when you divide the check, pay close attention to well, wait a minute, did you have 3 drinks and I only had 1?
So what you're saying is if the check was $60 and it's 3 people, so it's $20 each, but then they did the tip for the $60?
That's the claim.
Right.
That's
Okay, got it. So yeah, so if you weren't paying attention, you might
each
pay
person would tip off the $60.
Yeah.
Well, I would get, okay.
I feel like it's always a conversation. Hey, what should we all tip? So that you all do the exact same.
Yeah,
but
I do that
also
too.
Depends. But see, I have a friend of mine who you'll tip well and he'll over tip and then he'll look at the server and go, I thought your service was outstanding. I don't know what his problem is.
Oh, that's not fair.
Yeah, Jay Glazer. There you go. But then, when I go out with my friends, we definitely, a lot of times somebody just picks up the bill because it all evens out. Right. But then you have some friends who never, you never really expect for them to pay.
I was going to say, Robin and I have an expression for that.
I do put them on a budget. You are at a 2-drink max.
You do?
Yes, I do, absolutely. We're that close of friends. I feel like I can do that to you.
You want to tell who that one is?
I'm not going to do that. I'm not crazy.
But the point David was also making, because sometimes if you don't drink and somebody is, and alcohol can add to the bill, you wonder at the end. But I just think you just divide the bill.
I do. I just divide it up.
Say, we came out together, we agreed to come out together. I'm not going to start counting how many rosés I had.
You were who we was talking about.
But I think at the end of the day, it all evens out. If they're really good friends, it really all evens out.
But I think the point of this is just take a look at the bill. Take a little, and as a former waitress, I do always encourage, tip big if you can. Be a little bit more generous. They work so hard. And but that's what these people were saying, is that if they were paid the bill real quickly and didn't, It's
funny, in New York, when you're in a taxi and you swipe the card, they give you the tip choices, and I always just tip whatever I can. And then it's always interesting, the cab driver always looks through the window because they look at the tip and they say, oh, thank you. They have a giant smile on their face. So the tip goes a long way. It's just for people who are working hard out there.
We're getting a tip from the control room to move on.
David, thank you. I like that. I got something else that came up. Are emojis proper enough for emails, work emails?
For work emails.
Work emails. Israeli University found that they can make you look incompetent. If anybody's ever thought about that. But one book called The Emoji Code says emojis help us communicate better because they show just that, emotions. Now, what do you guys think? Do you ever use emojis in your emails, in your work emails?
It also depends on who you're sending it to. Work emails, not so much. But if I'm on my phone and I'm sending a work email, I may be more apt. If I'm at work and on my computer no.
Probably not.
Yeah, it just depends.
But otherwise,
for me, it's like if it's after those 3 drinks you were talking about, Michael, then lots of emojis. For me, it's like if it's after those 3 drinks you were talking about, Michael, then lots of emojis. Lots of emojis.
First of all, it's a 2-drink maximum, David. But what they did, first of all, it's a 2-drink maximum, David. But there's a professor, Vivian Evans, who says, you know what? It's our daily face-to-face interactions offer up to 70% of communication just from the look of somebody's face. So that is what the emoji does. It brings the emotion into the words.
Right. I mean, texts can be easily misread. We've talked about that before.
Well, some of these emojis can easily be misread. Even like LOL and all that stuff. My mom was like, your dad's in the hospital, LOL. And I was like, but she meant lots of love. I was like, she's laughing out loud, dad's in the hospital, but anyway.
You may need to find a landline to make an emergency call during the eclipse viewing because there'll be so many people on their cell phones at one time.
And people make fun that I still have a landline. People make so much fun of me that I have one. And see, that's a good reason why to have one.
I
right?
have one, but the phone is unplugged.
Yes.
And I'm sure, Steve, a lot of people are hoping that those clouds clear away. Yeah. Thank you so much. And you at home, you can see our full coverage of the Great American Eclipse on Monday in the great David MUIR. He's anchoring our live special starting at 1 p.m. Eastern.
When do you sleep?
Yeah, when do you sleep?
It's an issue, yeah.
When do you sleep?
Yeah, when do you sleep?
It's an issue, yeah.
We are back now with our big board and what they're calling the Game of Thrones effect. Fans who love the popular HBO series so much, they're going out, they're buying Siberian Huskies because they look like animals on the show called Dire Wolves.
Yeah, they're beautiful, actually. The problem is they may not realize what it takes to raise a husky. And now shelters are saying they're seeing more of those dogs abandoned. So Nick Watt this morning with details from the dog resort in North Hollywood. Morning, Nick.
Good morning, David. Well, I'm here with the Huskies and the volunteers from Hollywood Huskies. This is a rescue organization. As you guys mentioned, these are now Game of Thrones fans' favorite dogs, and that is causing some problems. The dire wolves of Game of Thrones, bit Siberian Husky, bit German Shepherd, bit CGI. And this is an actual Husky.
A lot of people are adopting because of popularity and, Game of Thrones.
Sounds absurd, it's for real. Actor-activist Peter Dinklage just posted. Shelters are reporting many of these Huskies are being abandoned. More than one shelter telling us they've seen a doubling in the number of abandoned Huskies.
Particularly a Husky puppy, who doesn't want this space?
But remember, these dogs pull sleds.
Huskies are a very high-energy breed. They're also very intelligent. So if you don't keep them busy and keep them exercised, they become destructive.
Real life, people, is a bouncing beast, actually, in your living room.
And I fear we just contributed by showing those puppy Huskies. They're so cute. But hey, Nick, the experts are really telling you, Nick, what we should be telling everyone. What do you have to keep in mind if you're gonna get one of these dogs?
Well, what you have to keep in mind if you get the Husky is that they shed a lot, as you can possibly see on my black shirt. They are very, very active. If you do not exercise these dogs, they will tear your house apart. But they are lovely, they are fluffy, but just research. And if you really love Game of Thrones that much, grow your hair, wear a cape, buy a t-shirt. Do not adopt a Husky just because you love the show. Just don't.
Just don't do it. But Nick, we're not just talking about dogs here. Other animal adoptions have spiked because of television shows and movies. Am I right?
Well, I mean, they have dogs, yeah. I mean, there was Beverly Hills Chihuahua, 101 Dalmatians, Men in Black, which caused a pug phase. Also, Harry Potter, Michael, owls. Now, after Harry Potter came out, there was a spike in the adoption and then the abandonment of owls because your young Harry or Hermione grows up, they lose interest, owls live for 20 years, and you are left with an owl.
And they tear the house apart,
adopting
too.
because of popular culture, probably a bad idea.
But they look beautiful right there in the shot, so thank everybody there at the dog resort, and thanks to you, Nick Watt.
You had an owl, didn't you?
I did. Lasted 21 years. Coming up.
Come on, David. You know you.
I got it.
I got this. You got this. You got this.
Despacito, that is our gift to everyone there because now you are earworm for the rest of the day.
Out the eclipse glasses, and yes, moon pies. Michael.
That's great.
That's worth the trip to Denver in itself right there, Clayton. Thank you very much. And even if you can't get to a spot in the totality zone, you can still see the eclipse. UC Berkeley, they set up a tool to show what the eclipse will look like where you live. So all you have to do is enter your zip code. And here's what we'll see during the peak in New York City. This is what we're going to see in New York. And this is what people...
They said about 71% here in the city.
Yeah. And then you also see what you're going to see in Orlando.
That's about 81%.
Florida.
Wow.
I'm just doing the math by looking at it.
In our friends in LA, they're going to get that
55.5%.
55. About 71% here in the city.
And then you also see what you're going to see in Orlando.
That's about 81%.
Florida.
Wow.
I'm just doing the math by looking at it.
In our friends in LA, they're going to get that
55.5%.
55. Regardless of what you see, make sure you use your eclipse glasses for safety, regardless of what you're watching. And you can see our full coverage on the Great American Eclipse Monday. David, 55%, 71%, whatever you say, you should know because you're anchoring our live special started at 1 p.m. Eastern right here on ABC.
I'm going to know by Monday. It is good to be alive in your Game of Thrones.
Oh, very Very nicely played. Good morning, America. Happy Thursday. Great to have everybody with us, and we cannot wait to speak to two incredible young women. They are known as the Solar Sisters.
They're cool. Two young scientists whose work caught the attention of the White House. Now they're working with NASA for the solar eclipse. Look at that.
And you know who else is getting on the solar eclipse bandwagon? Bonnie Tyler. You've been singing her all
Not just me. Not just me.
You've really been digging into it. But you wait to hear something planned, actually.
She does?
Yeah, you wait till you hear about it.
Remember that time,
Just for
Amy?
you.
Oh, I remember that time.
When they were on the big board and we would just sing along. We started it.
Yes.
We've been doing this all week. It's an earworm thing.
Oh, yeah,
Anyway.
I know.
They're excited. And a lot of people are excited because the solar eclipse is on Monday and it has scientists across the country excited. And two of the most excited may be these two sisters from Seattle, 10-year-old Kimberly and 12-year-old Rebecca. They're going to send up their homemade launcher during the eclipse and share the data they collect with NASA. And the two girls, the two sisters, are joining us right now live from Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Oh, my gosh. Kimberly, Rebecca, thanks for getting up so early for us. So, Kimberly, tell us, how did you guys come up with this idea?
Well, we were looking for a family project to do, and we just saw this, and we decided to do a project like it.
And Rebecca, you're working with NASA?
Well, not quite. There's two parts to that. We're working directly in launching with the Montana Space Grant, which is sponsored by NASA. But the second part is that we're going to be attaching some microbes to our payload, and NASA's going to analyze that because the stratosphere is very similar to the atmosphere on Mars.
You know, we know that the former President Obama invited you to the White House. What was that like when your dad got the call? Could your family believe it? And what did you tell the president when you got there? Both of you could go for it.
Well, when Dad got the call, it was the day before April Fool's Day, and the call was something like, "Hi, it's the White House speaking," and Dad said something like, "April Fool's Day is tomorrow."
And what do you two want to do when you grow up?
I want to be a robotic engineer.
Yay! Yay! What about you, Rebecca?
I'm not sure yet, honestly. There's lots of great jobs.
Well, you don't have
time.
You got time. You do. Kimberly and Rebecca, you're a fine example of sisterly love. Absolutely. And just giving us a great example of just, as you say, don't give up, go for it. You have a great day there in Jackson Hole. Wow. Isn't that beautiful? You know, out there? All right.
Also in the news this morning, Miley Cyrus. Miley's also feeling real estate richer now. At 24 years old, she's now the proud owner of this 33-acre property in her hometown of Franklin, Tennessee, just outside Nashville.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Beautiful,
Gorgeous. Yeah. She paid $5.8 million for it. It's got 5 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms. It's got a pool house.
She won't even know we're there.
That's right.
She won't even know we're there.
That's right.